Post-holiday blues refers to the short-term feelings that individuals experience after the holidays. These feelings include sadness, loneliness, fatigue, disappointment, sluggishness, mental distress, or even dread of the upcoming winter months. I know I suffer from this. As soon as I take down all of the Christmas decorations, my house looks so naked and barren. It makes me feel like my house is just empty and sad, which affects me internally as well. Today, I'm going to talk about some books that you can use to bust those post-holiday blues. What up, nerds? Welcome to The Nerdy Narrative. My name is Leslie Smith, and as I mentioned in the intro, today I have a stack of books here that I want to recommend to you to read if you are suffering from the post-holiday blues. Now, the first recommendation is a contemporary romance. So if you're someone who doesn't like contemporary romance, if you're a bookworm, you may just love this one anyway, because that is exactly what happened to me. That is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I read this book. I laughed so much. It's such a cute little romance story. The main characters are a literary agent and a book editor, and so the entire time that these two are bantering, they're talking to each other in literary terms. They're talking to each other in tropes. It is hilarious. I laughed so much. This is one I did listen to the audiobook. Julia Whelan is the narrator, who is one of my favorites. I distinctly remember all of the times I would be listening to this book while I was out running. I know exactly where I was at certain parts because I would stop to laugh, have to sit down on a park bench. It was that good. This one made me cry with laughter. It was so good. It's a romance story. Completely predictable, though there were some surprises in there that I wasn't expecting, so I did enjoy that. I became a fan of Emily Henry off this one. I've gone on to read more by her, really enjoy her. She's an autobiography author for me now. Highly recommend this one. My next recommendation holds a special place in my heart. This book saw me through a very tough time in my life. My husband had had a horrible accident. I was extremely worried for him. When I started this book, he was still in the hospital awaiting surgery. One of my friends, Ev, sent me the audiobook, and y'all, this book made me laugh when I didn't want to laugh. I was so upset about my husband, so worried about him. I didn't want to laugh. I wanted to wallow in my pain, but this book wouldn't let me, and that is The Stranger Times by C.K. Macdonald. Macdonald is an Irish comedian, so it's no surprise that his books hold a lot of humor. The narrator, Brendan Macdonald, he brings all of these characters to life. He gives each one their own unique voice and characteristics. The Stranger Times series is a paranormal thriller series. It's about the employees of the Stranger Times. That's a newspaper that reports on things that go bump in the night, things that cannot quite be explained. Most of what is written in the Stranger Times is complete nonsense, but sometimes it's true. Oh my gosh, this series is so wonderful. At time of filming, book 4 is about to be released, and I cannot wait to listen to it. Staying with the fantasy genre for just a moment more, I have 2 recommendations that fall under the cozy fantasy subgenre. You probably already know what they are, so I'm sure I'm shocking no one by recommending Legends and Lattes and Bookshops and Bone Dust. These books are low-stakes fantasy. I also consider them to be slice-of-life novels, but the first one, Legends and Lattes, is about Viv, who is an orc who is retiring from the life of being an adventurer, a bounty hunter, basically using her strength to make money. She's retiring, and she's found a little town that she opens a coffee shop in, and we learn all about the process of her opening this shop, finding a location, getting it renovated, opening it, how she grows her business. And it doesn't sound interesting, but it is. It's so cute. The characters are so lovable. And then Bookshops and Bone Dust is the prequel. This is a story of a time where Viv gets hurt in a campaign and she's forced to stay at a town and recuperate, and she finds herself helping a local bookshop try and grow its business. So good. So good. These are just comfort reads. These are going to make you feel good. They're also going to make you drink a lot of coffee and eat a lot of food. I regret nothing. These are books that I will absolutely be rereading on an annual basis. I feel like January and February are the perfect months to read those books, just to give me that feel-good feeling. Just find comfort in food and coffee and pastries. So we're down to my final 3 recommendations for books to bust the post-holiday blues, and they're all from the science fiction genre. The first one I will recommend to you is The Martian by Andy Weir. I read this as part of a read-along 4 years ago. It was never one I had ever intended on picking up. When I read the book description, I thought this isn't one for me, but because it was a bonus points for my team, I read it and ended up falling in love by the second page. This is the story of astronaut Mark Watney. He is one of the first people to walk on Mars, and he also gets stranded on Mars. And this story is about him understanding that he is not going to be rescued. He is stuck here, but he uses his intelligence to prolong his life for as long as possible. And then as you zoom that lens out, you get to see what the people of Earth are doing when they realize someone's been left behind, how they're able to find out that he's still alive, and just all of their reaction. After I read this book, I went and watched the movie, which was a really great adaptation that has Matt Damon as the main character. While they did a great job adapting the book to the movie, there's so much more humor in the book. So I really enjoyed this one. I cannot recommend this one enough. Whether you need a laugh or not, this is just a great book. This next recommendation that I'm going to throw out to you, I have to preface it by saying this is my favorite science fiction standalone novel to date. That is Stringers by Chris Panettiere. This book had me rolling, but there's so much more to it than all of the humor that's involved here. We have a found family trope, one of my favorite friendships. The story is unique. It's unforgettable. I can't even think the title of this book without smiling and laughing to myself. Just some of my favorite moments that occurred that were just absolutely wonderful. At time of filming, I have recently received an ARC of Chris Panettiere's upcoming horror release that I am dying to get to. I can't wait to see how that one's gonna work because there's so much humor in this book, and I follow Chris Panettiere on social media. He's just a really funny guy, so I'm wondering how is he gonna do with writing horror. I don't care, I'm gonna read it. I know I'm gonna love it. This is one that is going to be an immediate go-to for when I need a good laugh or I just want to have a great time with a book. My final recommendation is by an author who everything I've read by this author so far has had a lot of great humor. Another author who is really funny, just a positive person. This author is someone you just would like to be around. You know you're going to laugh. You're going to feel better about your day, yourself, everything by having this person in your life. Anytime I've been on a live show with him, anytime I've watched his channel, has just been nothing but a good time, and it's no different in his books. But the one I'm going to recommend here today is Wistful Ascending by J.C.M. Byrne. This is the first book in the Hybrid Helix series. I've also read his fantasy novel recently, Partial Function. That one has a lot of humor in it, but not as much as Wistful Ascending. Wistful Ascending is the story of Rohan, who is half human and half Ildrog, which makes him a superhero in space. He is retired from working with the Empire. He works as a tow chief for a space station called Wistful. His job is when a ship wants to come to Wistful and dock, they have to power down a certain distance out, and then Rowan tows them in. J.C.M. Byrne writes so vividly that I could picture what was happening in my mind as the story was unfolding. Again, this is another author who writes wonderful characters. If you read the prologue and at least the first chapter of this one, you are absolutely going to be snared by this story. It is such a good time. I am guilty of not continuing the series as of yet, but in 2024, that's a goal to get that one at least caught up. This one is not a finished series. It's still ongoing, which I am so grateful for. This is not one I'm going to want to end. That is going to do it for this video today. Just a few recommendations of books that are going to ensure you have a good time. Every single one of these books are going to make you feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. They're going to be a comfort to you. They're going to give you lots of things to laugh about and just forget about those post-holiday blues for a while. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.